With the Success Show, we love to talk to entrepreneurs, athletes, and actually all people that have done outstanding things. In this episode, we are not in a regular studio where we do a normal podcast. We are actually at the headquarters of TW Steel because we're interviewing Jordy. Jordy is the CEO of TW Steel, and he's going to give us a tour of his entire office. We're going to talk about the partnerships that they've done, what's coming in the future, and of course, all the obstacles. Let's get it. Jordy, we are here.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us here. You have
Pleasure having you.
You have a beautiful office.
Thank you.
Quite a special headquarters, I should say.
Yeah.
I see a beautiful car here. I see motorcycles. Could you tell us where you started?
Yeah, so this year is actually our 20th anniversary. So started 20 years ago.
Congratulations.
I was 23 at the time, so around your age. And my father was in the watch business already. So he taught me all the tips and tricks. And he was the one that, he's still the designer of TW Steel. So came up with the concept. And it was a very simple idea. It was, oversized watches at an affordable price point. Started with only 4 different styles, so very simple. I was actually just looking for the first show card, which was basically just the prints from the computer. So no images, no special display, no huge marketing campaign.
It was quite different back then.
Yeah, and the product just it resonated well with the consumer. It was very easy to adapt for jewelers to take it on. They were still in the boxes that they currently are in, so those metal cases. Yeah. We had 4 of the metal cases, 4 different styles, so very easy to take on. And the product you sold immediately. So we quite quickly knew that we had a hit.
Amazing. And back then you were 23. What was your responsibility in the business back then?
So I was focusing on the commercial side, but as I said, I learned everything from my father. He's been an entrepreneur pretty much my whole life. So I wasn't the best student in school, but on a business level, my father taught me everything. And with TW Steel as well, in the beginning, of course, he was focused on the design. And very much involved in the entire business, and he taught me everything I know and what I needed to know back then. He was my mentor from a young age. So, like I said, from a business perspective, I learned everything from my father. And then, of course, when you grow older, you develop your own style. You take everything that you've learned and adapt it to, new situations. Because especially with TW Steel, it was a lot of things that, the both of us never experienced before. My father, did international business prior to TW Steel, but at the level of TW Steel, that was completely new to us as well.
And can you talk about those core values and like what direction you guys went on?
I think it's interesting that it wasn't a marketing concept to start with. So certain things also develop over time. I think if you look at the core values, it was just create beautiful, expensive looking watches at an affordable price point. I think that's the foundation of where we came from. And in the end, we were different than everybody else. We were, obviously oversized. We stood out. You already saw that oversized watches were getting more popular, but we were really the ones setting the trend in that price point on that scale. So I think that that rebellious mentality, doing things different, that was always something that, was there from the beginning. And then, we kind of translated that in every activity that we did. But I think, especially with a brand, when it's a family company and a brand that is so close to you, it kind of represents who you are and you translate that into your brand. And certain things developed over time, and I think especially the motorsport part. In Holland, there was a first partnership, for Dakar, which was very good. And then we got approached by a company called A1GP. And A1GP was the World Cup of motorsport at the time. Really amazing platform, nation versus nation. So you had, it's like the World Cup of football, but then in motorsport. So great concept. You had Team Holland, Team UK, Team Spain. So for us, it was a perfect opportunity to do something on a global scale, but also have local execution where our partners could connect with the local teams and activate that in their local markets. And when we got approached by that, the business was doing really well, but it was still, my father, myself, and we had one guy in the warehouse. So the guy that I was speaking to, I'm like, financially it's not, a problem. I said, but we have no people that can activate this. So I said, I think it's a great opportunity, but you have to give me some time to build a team and prepare ourselves to do something the right way. Because if you do a sponsorship, it's not about just putting logos on a car or on a bike. It's really about how you activate it, how you make sure that your audience and your fans, they become a part of that. So whether it's doing events or invite people to races or, we did a lot of amazing things. So then we started to, put more structure into the company, put more people in place on a marketing level. And that was, I think, 6-7 months after that, we signed the partnership with A1GP, and that was fantastic, and really our first major sponsorship within the world of motorsport.
And then something even bigger followed, I believe. And we're standing next to it right here. It's not every day that I see a real life Formula One car in an office, just parked there casually. I can touch it.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
So when we did A1GP, it was actually quite interesting. So all of our partners massively got behind it, and A1GP did a survey that TTB Steel was promoting A1GP more than A1GP was promoting itself, because we did so much advertising outside of the broadcast on television. We were doing so much advertising. We created a range of watches, and it was really booming.
Was it back then? Was it like visual? Like we were doing billboards, photos? What was it like?
Yeah, the traditional way. Billboards and print. That was the main form of advertising. Print and billboards. There was a huge amount of exposure, which obviously got noticed by other people in motorsport. And unfortunately, A1GP got into a difficult time for them because you had the financial crisis. I think there was some issues with management, and they got into financial difficulties. So we signed up with them in 2007, and for the season 2008, and then we were looking into 2009 and. They didn't have a calendar. The schedule still needed to be determined. They had a couple races that were confirmed, but it was from, I think, the previous year, it was 10 or 12 races. Only 3 or 4 were already confirmed for the next year. And, we told them as well, listen, we need to have a schedule because you need to start planning. But that never really, we saw that they got in difficulties. And at that time, we got approached by Renault, Formula One at the time. And you think to yourself, okay, this is, it's a massive step and a way too big of a, it's too far away from us right now where we are, because we were only 4 years old. No, 3 years old actually, because I think we got approached by them end of 2008 or beginning of 2009, something like that. So early days. But they invited me to a Formula One race, so I thought, okay, I'm not going to say no to that.
And that's also the reason that they reached out to you was because they probably have seen the prior success with your previous partnership. That's
what they said. They said, listen, we see what you guys are doing with A1GP, but why don't you come do it with the big guys? And like I said, they invited me to a race. My first race was Monaco, which was fantastic.
Oh, amazing.
And also an interesting story. My best friend got, it was his bachelor party. He was getting married and it was his bachelor party that weekend. So I did, and I was the best man. So I did the bachelor party on Saturday night without sleeping. Took the first flight from Amsterdam to Nice, straight onto the track, and did the meeting with the guys in Monaco, and got the full experience. The grid walk. I mean, I still have all the passes from all the races that I've ever been to. And I was actually organizing them a few weeks ago, and I saw the pass of Monaco, the grid pass, which is like the golden ticket right now. I mean, now it's only celebrities.
It's almost not possible anymore.
No. It's very different now, but great experience. And where A1GP was very open and very accessible, Formula One is like the complete opposite. It's everything.
Even back then?
Yeah. It's even worse now, but it was very restricted. Passes for everything. You have VIP area, great, but you can't go into the pit lane or you can't go to the garages, and very, very different. But you get that feeling when you get there, like, okay, this is another level. So we did one race, and actually then the following race, because after Monaco came Barcelona, that's actually when my buddy got married. So again, I did the party on Saturday night, flew back Sunday morning to my second meeting with Renault. It was quite a coincidence. So it took then a couple meetings, for us to really see, okay, this. I think we can make this happen. I think the way the business is going, I think this can really help us achieve that global presence.
Because was that also the goal at the time, to like achieve global presence and not just stick to Holland and the neighboring countries?
No, because we already, when for 2005, I think in 2006 we already, I think, had about 35 countries that signed up. So that went extremely fast.
And was that because your dad already had a big network in the world,
he definitely had a network, but the majority came from, we signed a few partners, they sold like crazy, they did other brands, and they spoke with their colleagues from other brands in other markets, and it goes like an oil drop. It really spread like crazy. So we, especially in the beginning, we never had to look for a distributor in a country. They all approached us, and they were all looking for that new hot item. The international distribution, it grew very, very quickly. And I think the Formula One partnership, we envisioned that, okay, this can only accelerate our goals. So here we are in our boardroom. A lot of history here. A lot of special edition watches, all with an amazing story. As I mentioned earlier, for all of the partnership, we always created a watch. That was the foundation, because the only way we make money is by selling watches. So with every partnership, we create a special edition watch. And the interesting part of doing a collaboration watch is that it always creates very interesting executions, color scheme, because we never create a watch like, we're just gonna design something and present it to the ambassador and that's it. We really always engage with them and really ask them
involved, like from the beginning process. Cool.
And I think it was actually David Coulthard that said that, this is a watch that I love to wear and my fans can actually buy. If there's a very expensive watch, of course, it only targets a very selective people, or a selected target audience. But in this case, the majority of the fans are able to buy his watch as well. So that was a very cool thing, of course, to hear that. They like to wear it, and the fans can actually buy it.
Can you show us the partnership watch that you did with David Coulthard, or one of them? Because I think there were several ones, right?
Yeah. We have a couple here. So I think this was the first one that we did.
Wow.
So you can see here also on the dial says David Coulthard Special Edition. Very, very cool. We did several, but yeah, if we look here we have, for example, after we did Sahara Force India, during that same time we also signed up with Yamaha MotoGP on 2 bikes. It was actually our first 2-bike program that we did. So this is, for example, the Yamaha MotoGP watch. With the branding on the
the band is cool.
On the strap.
Something you see every day.
Yeah, very cool.
Wow. Is there a favorite watch that you have from all the partnerships you've done? Because I see plenty here. Is the one that for you really stands out when you think of, oh, this was my favorite partnership, this brings back the best memories?
No, I wouldn't say a favorite, because there's so many memories. I think that with all of them, I mean, you build up a friendship, you work so closely together. I think working with race car drivers or even motorbike riders is really great, because if you reach the level of Formula One, you have to have a very commercial mindset, because you can be very talented, but you have to bring a lot of money to buy a seat in. And first of all, if you start go-karting, it's already very expensive. Yeah. So all of these guys, they have a very commercial mindset. So they know how to work with the sponsor and to make it successful, because that's what they've been doing, of course, since they've been very young, because they needed to have sponsors on board. So that's why it's been always fantastic to work with these guys. So I couldn't say this is my favorite, but because all of them tell a great story. But if I just have to pick one of my favorite moments, it was with David Coulthard. It was at the time that we announced the partnership, and there was some bad press. He was spotted somewhere, and he came to the event, and all the media, of course, they wanted to ask more about the incident. Yeah. Then, of course, immediately about the watch, and he started to make a conversation about how the watch is scratch-proof, flash-proof, and it was really cool how he turned that around. So that was a really cool moment.
So of course people see all the highs, all the huge partnerships on social media. You guys have everything looks perfect, but as an entrepreneur, I know that it's not always sunshine. There's also things that happen behind the brand and not per se everyone sees. Could you tell us what all the obstacles and hardships that you guys had to face to get here?
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. It's obviously it's been fantastic. We've been doing this for 20 years, and a lot of great moments. But in business, there are a lot of struggles that you have to overcome. And I think right now on social media, a lot of people share a bit more of a realistic view, but there was a period that everything needed to look perfect, and nobody really showed what was going on behind the scenes, which for a lot of people gave a completely different impression. Like, okay, being an entrepreneur, it's all amazing, but it's definitely not the case. We had a lot of struggles ourselves. If I just look at let's say the past 10-15 years, obviously you had the financial crisis, which luckily we were not affected immediately. We still grew a lot. We did a lot of amazing partnerships, but in 2012 one of our suppliers had a lot of difficulties with quality. They couldn't deliver what we ordered, and from every 1,000 watches that we ordered, they could only deliver 200-300. So we had a lot of people complaining, a lot of distributors that needed goods, but we simply couldn't deliver. So we tried to ramp up the production, but everything got way too late. Normally it takes, let's say, to produce a watch, it takes somewhere between 90 and 120 days. And it was over 6 months, so really got us into a lot of difficulties. And then finally, when they got the production back on track, they started to deliver everything at once. So huge overstock that we had, and then you have to deal with that because everybody's always looking for, okay, what's new? You always have your winner watches that carry on for several years.
Yeah.
But everybody is always looking, okay, what's the new thing? What's the new thing? So we were sitting on a huge amount of stock that we had to deal with, and then you have to, you have to clear that, and you have to.
How do you do that? Well, because in this case, for example, you had a lot of orders probably that were ordered, and then you went to the manufacturer, like, I need this, it comes late, then you have the overstock.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of that, just to say?
So we always delivered directly from stock. That was our strength. So a lot of watch companies, they take orders from their partners and then they start to produce.
Yeah.
But we did the production and ordered and made sure that we had stock to fulfill all the orders. But of course, when the production is not, not going as it should, then your own stock is shrinking and certain models, they are out of stock. And then, then you simply can't deliver. So, as I said, when they finally got it back on track and they started to deliver all of those orders that we've placed, our stock grew like crazy. And then you have to clear it. So then have to work with companies to find alternative channels to clear the goods. But obviously that also has an effect on your general retail because your partners are not happy with that because they see watches at a discounted price, and it's the same for some partners. They were also maybe having overstocks, and I think that is one of the if I would say one of the most dangerous situations of a business is when all of you because there's so much money that gets tied up then into stock, and if it's not rotating, it gets it gets very tricky.
What's a good way to keep balance of that? Because I think it's hard, as you mentioned, because you have both sides, right? On the one hand, you cannot deliver because there's not enough, and on the other hand, you have too much, and it's hard to get rid of everything.
That's. I think the first part is I think much better. It's very frustrating, but you could rather have that you can't deliver than that you have overstocks, because it means that if you can't deliver, it means your bank account is very healthy. If you have overstocks, it means that your cash is tied up into stocks. So I think the first scenario, if you have to choose one, then choose the first one. But certain things, it happens. You can't oversee everything, or you can't foresee everything. In this case, if your manufacturer is having issues, you're just waiting for them to solve it, and it's very difficult to find a new factory just very quickly. So you kind of just you're waiting for them to resolve the situation, and in the end, you just have to deal with your problems. That's the bottom line.
It's also part of the game, right?
It is part of the game. And I've never met an entrepreneur that, is saying, well, I've never had issues. No, it's all perfect. It doesn't happen. I've also never met an entrepreneur that never lost money. I've met a lot of people that never lost money that have a job, but I've never met an entrepreneur that said, I've never lost money. It's part of business, and you have to deal with it, and you have to then be creative. Okay, this is the situation. How are we gonna get out of it?
Now I see a box there on the table. You guys stood the test of time.
Yeah.
The balls of steel paid off. I can make the joke. What is this that we have here? Because I've been looking at it since the beginning of this talk.
So we kind of came up with a new program where. For us, it's also about, we have a lot of fans, very dedicated fans. The amount of images that I get from people that have 20, 30 TTB steels is it's pretty impressive. So we have a lot of dedicated fans, and I think we wanted to create, so when times are difficult, a lot of people tend to go for, okay, but we need watches a little bit at a lower price point, where whether it's crisis, whether, whatever, situation there is in the world, there's a market for every price segment. And yeah, of course, it's in a lot of cases, it's easier to sell a watch at 300-400 than it is at 1,000, but you also have to sell less at 1,000 than you have to do at 200-400. So we were working on a new collection. Really, the first intention was to do it exclusively online, but we knew back then that that's going to create such a big problem with our partners, because you kind of don't allow them the opportunity to take advantage of that. And so we discussed it with a lot of partners, like, okay, this is our plan, these are our plans. We're looking to introduce this collection. It's a higher end price point. It's it's Swiss made. It's got all the bells and whistles, sapphire crystal, leather on rubber straps, and really a high spec, high quality product. What do you think about it? And all of them were like, yeah, but it's difficult. 1,000 euros or $1,000. It's we see that's going to be very difficult. And if they already think it's going to be difficult, you're already 50% behind, because if they don't get behind it, it doesn't even get the chance to perform. So we decided, okay, what can we do to launch this, give some benefit to our fans on a price level. So this is where we created the pre-order, a pre-order campaign where we launched the product. And it is you have a pre-order price and you have a retail price. We don't talk about discount, because although we live in a world of discounts, and I'm not saying that we never did a discount or that you can't find a watch at a discounted price, but with this it was really specific, like you have a pre-order price that is this price and you have a retail price. Yeah, if you want the watch immediately, you have to wait for when the watch is available. But if you want to have the exclusive pre-order price, you have to wait for the watch. So we launched this in 2018 and it was a massive success.
What was the reason that you also added the pre-order price to the selection of choice that people could have?
Well, I mean, because you need to give an incentive for people to, give their money to you and wait a couple months. There needs to be some kind of incentive. Plus, if you look at the traditional margin structure with distributors, retailers, and consumer, it makes the watch more expensive. It's very simple. I mean, and if you do it direct, you can also give a benefit to your fans and to the consumer. So this was for us like, okay, we create a structure where, and let me tell you, the distributors, the partners were still not happy with it. But we created a structure that, okay, let's do it in a pre-order setting. So, we have the benefit for our fans, and, it doesn't interfere with the sales that happen at that time for retail. We let retail participate in that. They could also collect pre-orders. So we tried to just make it as fair as possible for everybody. And it was a massive success. I mean, in 8 weeks' time, we sold a huge amount of watches, and because of that, we promoted the products. The advertising was so high that then all of a sudden the orders from partners were also extremely high, because everybody was seeing these videos over and over and over again. And in 2018, content was a little bit less intense than it is today, because for the whole campaign we had, I think, 5-6 videos. Maybe even, maximum 5-6 videos. We had some images and that was it. That was perfect for the campaign. But people saw it over and over again. So it did extremely well. And from that moment on, we kind of did a couple pre-orders a year, launching them first as a pre-order, then into the market. And it was a big success. The last one we did was in 2021. Because when things started to open up in 2022, 2022 things opened up with COVID. the retail got a huge boost. Everybody thought, I've been sitting at home, I'm done shopping online, and we want to go to the retail. So the retail got a huge boost. So we because a lot of our partners, some went actually bankrupt within the COVID period, but we thought, okay, everybody needs a chance to get things back on track. So we didn't do any pre-order in 2022, and it kind of dragged on like 2023 and 2024. We had our own e-commerce on a regular level was also really doing extremely well. So we decided not to do a pre-order, and now we have a new collection here. This was actually already created for the 2022 launch. We optimized and modified it a little bit. But yeah, we have 6 brand new styles, 3 automatics and 3 chronographs. Absolutely stunning. We have 2 all black versions, 3 steel versions and 1 rose gold. And we have one that is specifically special, and that's this one. So for our 20th anniversary, which is coming up, and which we're celebrating in the next couple months with some very cool special and limited editions. And they're all is in ice blue dials. Yeah, we this one is really special.
Why that color?
I think it really stands out. I think it's something really different. Color schemes really work for TTB Steel. And we had some watches that we did over the past 2-3 years with blue that performed really well, and we've never done an ice blue.
Okay.
And yeah, we looked at, we need to come with a concept. We need to come with like, what do we think is a nice color scheme for the 20th anniversary? And then blue came up because it always does really well for us. And that's why, we looked into, as I mentioned, my father is still involved very much in the designs. So discussed with my father, and ice blue came up like, okay, we think this is a great color. We've never done something like that, so let's focus on that. And then the designs that were created, it just looked really cool. So you can have a look yourself. And it's really different to what we've done. And obviously, if you look at black dials or a regular blue dial, it always performs very well. But if you look at the colorful watches that we've done, whether it was with brand ambassadors or with some of the partnerships, they tend to do really well because we have such a strong fan base that if you already have a couple TTB Steels, let's say on average, not everybody has of course the 20-30, but a lot of our fans, they have already 2-3 TTB Steels. So for them to add something extra to the collection, they're looking for something different.
Something and then
new, something this really stands out.
Of course, Jordy, TW Steel wouldn't be TW Steel without exciting partnerships. Is there anything in the future that you can give us some hints about?
Yeah, so obviously motorsport is in our DNA. We have our partnership with the TT Evel Knievel. That's a 3-year partnership. Really fantastic launch. Has done really, really well. The content. I mean, I've been to the race, and what these guys perform on it's a street race is to a whole nother level. 300 kilometers between houses. I mean, it's insane. Motorsport is really something that works well for us. For 2026, it's obviously not out yet, but we are going to have a partnership with Evel Knievel in the US. I must say something that I would not have thought of. Okay, we're going to do a partnership with him, but I was approached by them, and if you look at how big he is in the US and his merchandise and his legacy, how that lives on, I think for storytelling that is something that we can do a lot with. So that is something for next year. Obviously, we just announced our partnership also with Van der Brink racing team in Holland, they do Dakar, they do all these kind of rally drives. They compete in multiple competitions with their buggy, with their buggies. But they're doing their own race in Dubai, and they're doing a lot of I would say amateur races where you could sign up. I mean, obviously there's a fee involved. That they do rallies in Morocco, in Dubai, which is more like an amateur rally. So it allows us a huge amount of opportunity to activate that with our fans. So
I can also imagine, like, content-wise, like, it gives you the possibility to do so much, and because they're doing so much, like in video, it doesn't really matter if it's like an official race or if it's a race where amateurs can sign up. People see the cars, people see the desert, the Sahara, the sand going through the wheels. Like, that's the images that speak to people.
Yeah. Well, I think actually, maybe I think the amateur races maybe appeal even more because people feel, hey, I can actually do this. And obviously, we're gonna run incentives, buy a watch, win a trip to a race, or actually participate in one. So we're gonna do a lot of cool things with that. And like you said, content is absolutely crucial these days. It's that makes the difference because people are on their phone non-stop. The attention span people have nowadays, it's very little. So in order to get noticed, you have to really create amazing content.
What I think is fascinating about your brand is that, of course, brands notice now, and you have a lot of brands that now invest a lot in their image and the content. But what's so cool about TW Steel is that even in 2000, like in the period from 2005 to 2010, you guys were already actively doing this in a different way, not with social media, TikToks, or short-form content that appeals to people when they scroll past, but with big billboards, with big campaigns. And now you just like transmuted, just like you did with your business, where you went from a business that was first heavy retail, that now went to something that's more digital and people can like purchase everything online.
Yeah.
You did the same with content. You went from billboards and photos to a business where you now are very active on social media. And for me as a business owner that works in that field, it's cool to see because I've seen that evolution. Of course, I did my homework and I went through the social media. You guys have still the content from back then, it's still online.
Yeah.
So you can see like the transformation from back then to now. And it's cool to see that you were able to like witness that from so close. And then now still to this day, we had a conversation off camera, you're like, yeah, we're still pulling on it. Like we still have to make sure that we are top of mind. And it's in a different way, but you're still working on it daily, which is so cool,
for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that we still have a lot of opportunity and room for improvement for ourselves. I think that the level of content, even if you look at the past 24 to 36 months, has changed a lot in the amount of content that you have to push out. I mean, if we look 15 years ago, if we would, with a partnership, create like 3 images and 1 video for 1 year, I mean, everybody would be wow, super excited. I mean, now that fills up 1 week, and you don't have to, you can't even go crazy with content. So the amount of content that you have to produce is to a complete another level, and you have to develop yourself constantly to make sure that you're reaching the goals that you want to achieve.
Thank you, Jordy. First of all, I'm so grateful that you gave us such a good insight in your business. I think a lot of entrepreneurs watching this, quite like a long form video, people like see like the brain of an entrepreneur that has and is still working on the highest level of the echelon, where you're working with big partnerships, big brands, a lot of consumers. Like, it's cool to have such a clear insight of how that works.
Oh, thank you.
There is one question we always like to ask at the end of each success show, and that is, what does success mean to you? What does it look like for you? Because I think with TW Steel, which is quite interesting, is you guys have always been connected to all these successful names. So what does success mean for you personally?
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think you need to separate then the two, because a lot of people then, of course, health and everything, but I think this is about business.
Yeah.
So if you focus on the business, I mean, it's simply, the results of the company. I mean, that determines the success of your business. And obviously, brand development is very key. But in the end, I think the success is how healthy is your business. if you look at it from a personal perspective, yeah, I mean, my family, everything, that is absolutely the most important. Don't get me wrong. But if you purely look at it from a business perspective, I think, success is when you achieve the goals and when you have, certain level of financial freedom within the company and, the business is running at a certain level. I think that's how you can measure your success. And yeah, I think it's very personal, of course, for everybody. If you asked me 20 years ago and you talk about success, maybe I need to add one thing. So a level of success is for me now also to do it with, to have the least amount of headache, because you heard in the business you have a lot of headaches already. And if you would have asked me 20 years ago, my idea of success was, okay, you need to have a big company with a lot of people, and which at one point I had with offices around the world. But yeah, for me that wasn't, first of all, it wasn't the success that that we were looking for, and then the headaches that got involved. So to now have a much more lean operation and a very healthy business, yeah, I think that's for me it qualifies for success.
Amazing. Then when you talk about it personally, of course you had all those changes within the business, and you went from traveling 300 days a year in the plane to now being mostly in Holland in your office, tweaking the buttons, making sure the campaigns are fully optimized. That has something to do with your family as well, I believe.
100%. If you look at it from that perspective, then for me, if I involve my private situation, then of course success is that I can kiss my girls every night before they go to bed, and that I get to drop them off at school every day, and that I still work a lot because I mean there's a lot to be done. But that every Sunday we could able to do really cool things, and we can go on holiday a couple times a year. I mean, when I was traveling nonstop, yeah, I mean it's a completely different life that you're living. So if I attract my personal situation, yeah, then success is just making sure that the balance between work and private is for me in the right balance. And I'm sure that for some people say, because I'm still working 6 days a week, that may be off balance, but for me that's the right balance to have for the private situation and the business.
Amazing, Jordy. Thank you so much for the insights.
Pleasure.
Once again, congratulations on the 20-year anniversary.
Thank you.
It's so cool also for me as a young entrepreneur to see what it takes to get to the top, and all the small baby steps that you had to take to get there. I think it's a lot of also compound interest, right? Like you have to start at a young age. That's what you did. You were around my age when you started. And from there on, you just worked your way every day, up the ladder. Yeah. And all those small steps amounted to this beautiful office with a beautiful team, with beautiful products. And it's cool that you gave us this insight.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Perfect.